Team's Chris, welcome back to this Chris is Going Wild channel. Thanks again for checking in. Here we are still at Harpers Ferry, and it's July 15th, and I still got Golden Goddess with me. So once again, back to the spiritual halfway point, or the emotional halfway point, whatever you want to call it, the original halfway point. So just wanted to talk a little bit about the town and a little bit about the Civil War. So in my last video, I talked about John Brown and what happened, and the John Brown fort is right over there, and I'm going to ignore her. You can ignore her too. So actually, this used to be a big weapons complex, and when I say complex, it just made weapons up until the Civil War, until it got really destroyed during the Civil War. Like I said, changed hands 8 times between the well, it was occupied 8 times, so how many ever changing hands that is, between the Union and the Confederates. But the road that we were on, where I was talking about the ice cream shops, where the railroad tracks now, not now, but on this side where the railroad tracks are, used to be the weapons depot.
Look at the tubers. You can tube down this.
Yeah, you can tube down the river. There's tubers.
Down the river.
There's YouTubers down the river.
Well,
oh,
they're
no,
not
they're
YouTubers,
just
they're just tubers. How cool is that?
So this right here are the train tracks that come into town. And this is what we're going to cross. You see all those people walking? That is actually the Appalachian Trail crossing the Potomac River. The Shenandoah River comes down basically from the northwest. It flows north, it flows into the Potomac. The Potomac is flowing south. It continues to flow south until it gets all the way to DC. So that's where we are. So an amazing supply hub back in the day for trains, because you know it gets flatter when you're near the river, so it's easy to go ahead and make train tracks. Also for trails, for wagons, for hiking, for horses. You just follow the rivers, right? But everything ends up here. It's a hub. It's a supply hub. So the North and the South loved Harpers Ferry during the Civil War because it was a supply hub. And so we're going to go back. It's September, and it's 1862. And Robert E. Lee, General Robert E. Lee of the Confederate Army, has convinced Confederate President Jefferson Davis that we need to invade the North, because all the fighting's been on the South to this point. We need to go north. We need to capture Washington. If we capture the capital, it will end the Civil War and we will be done. And he was absolutely right. He had a great plan. The problem is, when he went to execute, we got to Gettysburg, things turned around. But we're not to Gettysburg yet, because that doesn't happen until July 4th, around July 4th, the 1st to the 4th of 1863. But here we are, we're September, I believe it's 1819, if I remember correctly, of 1862. And we are at this confluence of these two very, very powerful, very real, very influential rivers for supply chains. And so now we're looking to the northeast, and that is Maryland. As soon as we cross that train bridge, we will be in Maryland, and that is called the Maryland Heights. Over here to the southwest is Loudon Heights, and then back behind us, you can't see it, but the national park goes for about 3 miles behind the town back there, and it goes up to Boulevard Heights. So you can see the town is in a very strategic position. Easy to fight and take the town, hard to defend, because unless you're on all these heights, you can't defend it. And they've never had enough personnel either side to defend it. So it changed hands, went back and forth 8 times. The last time it changed hands, it was General Stonewall Jackson. And Jackson, he saw a chink in the armor in the Union Army, and he let General Lee know, and General Lee said, go take it. And he actually got over 12,500 people to surrender. And it's the most in any one battle that has ever surrendered until you get to the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. Maybe that's World War I. I don't know. Somebody figure that out. So anyways, so here we are. You got these heights. So Jackson comes in September of 1862. He takes Harper's Ferry. Robert E. Lee was adamant that he could not make it to Washington, D.C. unless he took Harper's Ferry. So he takes Harper's Ferry. He orders Stonewall Jackson, says, meet me in Sharpsburg. Jackson takes off. He leaves a contingent here to deal with the POWs. And so he takes off. He meets up with Lee in Sharpsburg. And 2 days after this, we end up in Antietam. And we have a battle in Antietam, which is not very far, if you can imagine. We've got all these troops. They're all just hiking up to Sharpsburg. From Sharpsburg, they go to Antietam. And 2 days later, we have this great battle at Antietam. And I'm not going to go into that because I'm not at Antietam. But if you want to look it up, you should look it up. So this is just a really neat town. It's just beautiful. As I said, Thomas Jefferson visited this area and said this is one of the most beautiful sights he had ever seen. You should actually get on a boat, come from Europe just to see this location. So, hope I didn't bore you with too much history. Here we are. We're about to go across the bridge. And we're about to get a couple miles down the road. But I did just want to whet your appetite for Harper's Ferry. I hope you all check it out, look it up, and possibly someday come here because it's well worth it. So until next time, say your prayers, be positive, do something good for somebody, have a glass of wine for me, and until next time, you know what I'm about to say. Sky King out.